This, my friends, is the LM1 launch monitor from Shot Scope. It's under $200 and never needs a subscription. So is it any good? Well, that's the question we're going to answer straight ahead. Hello friends, Bill Hobson here. Welcome inside the MGL Sim Studio for a moment that we have been looking forward to for quite some time. Some of you may remember that back in January at the PGA Merchandise Show, the buzz was really about the new lower cost launch monitor sector that was growing, including and probably headlined by the Shot Scope LM1, a launch monitor for under $200 with no additional subscriptions required, that you can use indoors and outdoors, that covers 5 different data points and is ready to operate within 25 seconds of you setting it up, and that also transfers all the data over to a mobile app. There's so much to it that back in January, the intrigue level was off the charts, but they didn't have units available until now. And so together, we're going to share our first real in-depth look at the LM1. We'll take you through the unboxing, we'll set it up, we'll use it, we'll compare the data that it produces to the data that comes from the much more expensive launch monitor that I have here in the MGL Sim, and we'll let you decide for yourself whether or not you think this is the perfect entry point launch monitor for you. And a little teaser for you that if you do like the LM1 and want to pick one up for yourself, make sure you check out the description below. We have a special promo code that will save you 15% on any purchase you make from Shot Scope, including this one. So I want to walk us all through the unboxing. This is how the package is going to arrive at your place. That's how it arrived at our place. And let's just see how it's all put together here from our friends at Shot Scope as we, for the first time ever, get a chance to look inside the Shot Scope LM1. So as we crack open the box for the first time, we are greeted by simplicity and a nice looking package. There's a little bonus gift in here of a microfiber towel. You don't have to have this in order to properly operate the LM1, but it's a nice little throw in. So we'll put that over to this side, and then we have the star of the show, which of course is the LM1 and its compact glory, which is just a small box with the launch monitor in it, right? It measures 5 different variables, 5 different data points. We'll talk about those here in the next couple of moments. But first and foremost, let's pop it open so you can see up close and personal how compact this LM1 really is. I remember getting my hands on this for the first time in Orlando at the PGA show and being blown away by the whole thing. And right now it's about the size, it feels like about the size of maybe a large rangefinder, but that's about it. There's the unit. The other items in the box are pretty self-explanatory. There's a user guide. There's of course a charging cable because, man, we get charging cables everywhere these days. And a cleaning cloth, along with, of course, the silica gel, do not eat. So, it's like the Russian nesting doll a little bit. We start with the bigger box, we get down to the little box, and now we move into a smaller case where we now find, nestled into the case, the LM1 itself. Basically, that's it. I mean, that's it. This is your LM1 in its glory. It's about 5 inches by 4 inches. It's super lightweight, and on this unit, we'll talk about this in a bit more detail here shortly, there are only 4 total controls. There's a power button, there's the up and down selectors, and then there's a back screen button, and that's about it. So what I want to do right now is give it a little charge, and then we'll walk you through what this thing can do. Okay, we've given this unit a full charge. It is ready to go. So let's together explore what the setup process looks like as we first use the silver button on the top right side to power on the LM1. And as it pops into reality, you will see a vibrant, very clear display where we can begin deciding what we want to do. If we want to get in right now to start a session, we can do that. I'll come back to that in just a moment. But first, let me walk you through some of the settings choices. So again, we're going to use the up and down arrows on the side, pretty simple. And when we get to one that we want to use, we just single press the gray button up top. And now within settings, we can talk about our display. Do we want the display to be in black and blue? Do we want it to be all black? I'm going to set this up with a little blue and we'll see what that looks like together. After we make that selection, we use the back button, we come on back. The layout. The layout means, how do you want to see your data? Would you like to see all of the measurements on one screen, or would you like to see one measurement at a time in large digits on the screen? And we'll show you what that looks like when we're hitting balls here in a little bit. I'm going to keep the advanced setting on so that we see everything on one screen. Even though it's kind of a small screen, I think we'll be able to see the numbers just fine. We can come back in now and adjust our brightness. I'm going to keep it at about 60% for now. We'll see if that works out for us. And that's really it within the settings. We've got color, layout, brightness. Let's go back. Now we come outside of display. We're going to go down and choose our language. As you may expect, I'm going to use English, but this is a global product, so there are many languages from which to choose. We're going to come back out here. We have a Bluetooth connection. That's going to become important here in a little bit as we set up the LM1 to communicate to the Shot Scope app on my phone. Now, let me stop right now. Make sure you're fully aware. You do not need to use an app to use the LM1. This is standalone. It's going to record all of the shots within your session. You don't have to be connected to anything. But if you want to transfer the data from here into the app, then you'll have to connect via Bluetooth. You're used to that by now, right? Everything's Bluetooth these days. We'll connect that a little bit later on. In fact, one of the reasons you see a red dot here at the lower right corner of the screen is because it's not yet connected to the phone. We come back into settings, we scroll down to history, and inside history, we're not going to have anything there yet, but we can see the latest from our practice session, or if we chose to be outside on the golf course, that session, and we can then download that data to our phone. Let's go back to start session, because there are choices within this LM1. We can just work on speed training. I've got super speed sticks over here in the corner of the simulator. I use those for speed training to get this old body moving. You don't use a golf ball for that. You set it up and you're swinging as hard as you can, and you need something to monitor your progress. The LM1 will do that. On course mode means we're going to take this on the course. I think you've probably figured that out by now. And then we have a mode to use for inside, which is what we'll do here in the simulator space, and you choose practice range. So let's hit that. And then as we hit that, we'll get our first look at what the data output's going to look like. Again, there are 5 data points being measured: your club speed, your ball speed, your smash factor, your carry, and your total distance coming through here. And you will actually move through your clubs using the selector buttons on the right side. So we can work all the way through. Let me go back. There's our lob, sandy, gap, pitch, 9, 8, and all the way through the irons. We can come down into our hybrids, right? So you could actually tell this device 7 wood, 5 wood, 3 wood, and driver. You can tell the device what you're hitting so that when it's gathering the data, it's storing it in those categories to eventually be transferred over to either your mobile app or to your online account. That's the beauty of this LM1. And that, my friends, is literally the walkthrough of everything that this has in it. And look how quick that was. I mean, we walked you through all of the menu settings. We walked you through all of the variables. We'll do the connection to the phone here in a little bit, but I am blown away at how simple the setup is for the LM1, and can't wait to take it off of the table, put it onto the mat, and see how well it does in recording my data. So why don't we do that now? Okay, we have the LM1 all set up and ready to record the shots that I'm about to hit. We've got a camera down here so that you can see the screen on the LM1, and then we've got the other camera back here at the back of the studio so you can get a feel for what we're hitting into. And one of the reasons that I wanted to bring this device into the Sim Studio was to compare the data that it gathers with that from our Unicore, which is mounted on the ceiling. I don't think you can see it in the picture there, but the data tiles are over on this side. Just a couple of notes before we start to hit some shots. Number one of the measurements that the LM1 provides is total distance. Like you have carry distance and then total distance. Just so you know, I don't care what the total distance number is. I don't care how closely it matches what the Unicore says, because the calculation of the rollout or the run out at the end of a shot, that's going to be all over the place depending on the hardware that you're using and the way that they calculate total distance. Now, the carry distance, I'd like to see that be pretty close between the two devices. Another note to point out is that the folks from Shot Scope have told us that when using the LM1 indoors, there is a bit more variation than if you're using it outdoors. You may not have as consistent a read, just depending on lighting and other factors that come into play. So keep that in mind as we walk through a few different shots here. I've got a 9-iron in my hands. I'll hit a few shots with a 9-iron, then I'll switch down to a 6-iron, and then I'll probably hit some 3-woods, and we'll just kind of see how the device captures the data and how it compares. So first of all, for the 9-iron, down on the unit, I have already selected that by using the buttons here on the side to set it up to 9-iron. Now it's ready to receive data. I can't say that I'm very loose, so try to contain your laughter depending on the results that we get here, but we're going to hit a few shots, first of all, with a 9. Well, not too bad. Okay, so according to the Unicore, speed on that was 75.2. On the LM1, it was 78.7. My carry distance, 132.3, and on the LM1, 132. Ball speed, 98.6 down there, 99 on the Unicore. Smash factor, 1.25 on the LM1, 1.32 from Unicore. I can live with those numbers. Let's try another one. I didn't hit that one very well at all. That was scuffy. Smash factor 118, carry 122. All right, so let me reset the numbers for you. Unicore says the club head was 79.8. LM1 has it at 80.5. That's close enough for me. Ball speed, 94 on both of them. Smash factor, 118 to 117. And the carry, 124 to 122. That's pretty impressive. Let's try one more. I don't mean it was impressive from a performance standpoint, because that was a terrible shot. But I mean the consistency of the data. Let's see if we can hit a shot that stays on the planet here. That's a little better. All right, right down the line, we like that. All right, so we have club head speed at 76.8. In this case, the LM1 has that at 80.4. Has the ball speed at 96.3 compared to 96.2. Nothing wrong with that. Smash factor 1.20 on the LM1, 2.5 on the Unicore. And the carry distance went to 128 here, 127.5 on the Unicore. Let's move over to a 6-iron. Just see if there's any difference. And again, I've got to come down here to the device, use the buttons on the side, and just cycle until we get to the 6-iron, where it resets all the data at 0. We'll step up with a 6 and see what we can get. Didn't hit that one terribly well. That's not going to go very far. Carry 160.8. LM1 had it at 164. Club head speed, Unicore had it at 81. LM at 85. Smash at 133 to 139. Let's see if we can hit another one and see how we compare numbers. That's a little better. Okay, let's compare the numbers. Unicore says the club head speed was 86.3, 85.5 down there. Ball speed, I've not been reporting that to you, but that is, of course, one of the data points, 118 on the LM1, 117.1 on the Unicore. The carry to 173 on the LM1, 171 on the Unicore. And I can live within a variance of a yard here or there, that's for sure. All right, one more little spin through. Let's just hit a few 3-woods, shall we? Again, come back down here to the device, side buttons. Go through the hybrids, 7-wood, 5-wood, 3-wood. All right, let's see what we get here. Hit that one pretty solidly, pulled it a little bit. We have, on the Unicore, club head speed 88.8 compared to 96. Now that's a fairly sizable difference, so we'll keep an eye on that. Ball speed 133, exactly the same, 133. Smash factor 139 to 150. And the carry, 213 on the Unicore, 209 down here on the LM1. So a little bit of a variance there with club head speed, that's for sure. Let's try it again. That would be a grounder cut. That wasn't very good. Okay, we'll compare numbers. Club head, 96.5 to 90.9. Another big variance there. Maybe there's a little difference here when we get into the head cover clubs. Carry, 207 to 218. Smash factor, 142 to 150. Ball speed, 136 to 137. So the ball speed is consistent. The other numbers are off a bit here with the 3-wood. Let's try one more, just for kicks. See if we can get those numbers to match up a little bit more. That's a pretty good strike. I'm happy with that one. Okay, time for the numbers. Let's start with club speed, 89.3, 94.7. Ball speed, 134 to 135, fine. Smash, 150 to 142. And then the carry, 212, 210. I can live with the carry variances. I'm a little perplexed by the club head speed difference when the other numbers are a pretty good match, but that gives you a little feel for the LM1 and its measurement capabilities. There's one more thing I do want to do, which is to switch it over to speed training mode. We're going to switch modes over to speed training, so we'll select that. And as soon as we hit that, the only display you'll see on the screen is the miles per hour display, and it's simply going to be looking for me to swing this super speed stick, you know, as fast as I can. Now, just so you all know, I'm coming off of a knee surgery, so I am not going to go all out here, but we will see how the measuring goes as we kind of wind up with the super speed sticks here in this unique mode on the LM1. All right, comes in at 96.9. One. And 101 again. So there is a little glimpse of how the mode works for your speed training. And then I'm going to shut everything down and show you what it looks like when we access the history to look at all of the data collected in the session that we just did. I told you earlier that the LM1 is storing all of your data from your practice sessions, and this is how you access it. You'll go back into your settings, look for history, and then you'll look for practice session, unless you were out on the course, but you'll look for practice session. You'll accept this, and now, as we get into, we started with the 9-iron, and here are each of our 9-iron shots coming all the way through that set. I think we hit 5 of them. Let's see, 9-iron. Now we move over to the 6, where I hit some real clunkers, and we'll make our way through the 6s. Then we'll come over to the 3-wood, where we had our various numbers in through there. Now, this is kind of fun because we're seeing it count down here at the bottom. There's 11 of 11 shots in our set, and we're coming back around to the 9 iron where it's counting us back down all the way through. Then we can back out of this, come back into settings. Let's go down to Bluetooth. Right now, you see where we have the battery indicator, that's the green light, and the red dot, which is telling us that the LM1 isn't currently connected to anything. So I'm going to select Bluetooth. I'm going to turn that on. And when that turns on, that light turns green because now the device is ready to talk to the Shot Scope app on your mobile phone and transfer all of that data over to the app. In the end, I'm not sure which of the LM1 features I put at the top of my personal leaderboard. It's a pretty close race, but I think the versatility and portability of it is my one slot. I love being able to take it onto the course or onto the range or use it inside the Sim Studio, including for speed training. Now, I haven't taken it outside in this video because there's snow on the ground, but we will do that a little bit later on in the season so you can see how it works on the range. In second place, and it's a really close, like a 4-hole playoff victory for versatility and portability, and in second place is the price point. If you're looking to get into the launch monitor game, doing so for under $200 with no additional subscriptions required is, well, it's pretty darn hard to beat. Make sure you check out the description below for our promo code to save you even more dollars on top of that, and we'll look forward to visiting with you again next time as we continue to review basically a little bit of everything in the world of golf, and we'd love to hear your thoughts not only on this review, but on other things you'd like to see us take an up-close look at. Please hit that subscribe button. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.